Mrs. Beckman here. I am really sorry that I can't be there again today. If you haven't heard, my children's daycare, the lady that runs it, she is feeling terrible and is being tested. And until then, the daycare is closed. So I'm at home taking care of my kids again today. And so unfortunately, this lesson is going to have to be the best option with me teaching it here through video. All right, so today's lesson is going to be on the distributive property. You guys have seen this before, and this is where eventually we'll start seeing this in equations, and that's where our equations can start getting more difficult than the two steps that we're used to. Okay, but first we have jokes. If you haven't realized the theme yet, we have Colts football today. So why didn't the dog want to play football? Your hint is that it liked to play another sport instead. And in this case, the dog was a boxer. All right, second question. Which insect isn't a very good running back? And you have to think, what is the worst thing that a football player can do, especially a good running back? Answer here is a fumblebee. The worst thing they can do is fumble. Okay, so now let's get back to our distributive property. We're going to start off with a numerical example. You guys are used to doing problems like the first one up there. And if we see this using order of operations, we always do parentheses first. So we do 6 plus 3, which is 9, and this is kind of like what your bell ringer was. And then we do 4 times 9, which is 36. But is there another way that we could get 36 here if by doing this problem a different way? If you need to, you can pause the video to give everybody a little bit of time to think about this. All right, the other way is to use the distributive property. And if you remember this from last year, you take the number out front, so in this case the 4, and you multiply it by each number separately. So we do 4 times 6, we get 24. We do 4 times 3, we get 12. And then we keep that sign in the middle, so we add them together. And doing that method, we could also get the answer of 36. Now, to be honest, in my opinion, the first one is way easier. So if there is ever a numerical example, I would always do the first method. I think that's just a lot simpler. However, if we ever have a variable, we don't know what x plus 3 is. I can't do that. And so that is a lot of times when we want to resort to using the distributive property instead of order of operations. So we would do the same thing. We would take the number outside, multiply it by each one separately. So I definitely get 12 for the second one. The first one, I don't know what 4 times x is, so we just write it as 4x. Again, bring down the plus there in the middle. And I like to kind of relate the distributive property to somebody, and I think some of your teachers in past years would also do this. I always think about who is the best in the world at passing things out. And I always think about Santa Claus. So I say, in a way, it's kind of like Santa Claus. The number out front is Santa. Don't make fun of my drawing here. There's the beard. We've got the hat. All right, so A is Santa. The parentheses, if I would put them together, it's almost like a little halo. Those are the good kids inside the parentheses. And Santa cannot be mean and just pass out presents to one good kid. he has to pass it out to all the good kids. Now he only passes it out to good kids, only numbers inside the parentheses. If I had like a -2 out there, he would not give presents to that kid. That's the bad kid. All right, so he only passes out presents to the good kids, the ones inside the parentheses, and when we do that, we multiply. So A times B, again, I don't know what that is, AB, A times C, AC, and we put a plus sign in between. So use the Santa Claus if that helps you remember to pass out gifts to all of the kids. All right, take a few minutes here now to go ahead and copy down our steps. The hardest part, in my opinion, is step number 1, is identifying the signs. A lot of people make mistakes on if it should be a plus or a minus. All right, go ahead and pause now if you need to so everybody can write down the steps. All right, we're going to do a few examples now. Okay, so first I would identify who the Santa Claus is. So in this first problem A, 3 is the Santa Claus. We've got 2 good kids inside, but I could have 20 good kids. But in this case, it's just 2. And he's going to throw presents to those 2 kids. Again, multiply each of them. So 3x, and 3 times 7 is 21. And since that was a positive, I'm going to put a plus there. All right, B here, this one looks a little strange because the -2 is behind, but if you want to rewrite it with a -2 in front, that means the exact same thing. Okay, so in this case, our Santa Claus is the -2. Again, 2 good kids to throw presents to. Make sure you don't have any mean Santas. Give presents to all. So we have -2 times n, so -2n. And if you want, there's kind of that ninja 1 there to help you remember that's -2 times 1. And -2 times 4. This one's different because we have a negative times a positive. That gives us a negative. I am just going to put one sign because it's cleaner. A negative times a positive is a negative, so I'm going to put -8 here. Some people like to put plus -8. It's kind of frowned upon at high school level. They prefer it to be just the one sign, a -8 in this case. Okay, C looks a little different here. We've got -5 as our Santa Claus. And if you notice, we have 3 good kids that need to get presents from Santa. And now be very careful on your signs here. So -5 times 2y would give us a -10y. -5 times a positive 1, again, would give us a negative. So I'm going to put minus for the -5. -5 times -2x, remember include the sign in front of the 2x, so negative times negative is going to be a positive, and 5 times 2x is 10x. And that would be our answer there. Okay, and D, we have Santa Claus and just 2 good kids to hand out candy to. 7 times -10m would be -70m, and 7 times 3, the positive, would be 21, but don't forget to put a plus there since it was a positive 21. Okay, so I just did 4 examples with you. I want you guys to try one on your own. Go ahead, everybody try the first one here. -2 and then in parentheses z minus 1. Go ahead and pause the screen now so everybody can answer this question. All right, hopefully you guys all had a chance to do this problem by now. Our Santa Claus was -2. We multiply it by z, that gives us -2z. We have -2 times -1. Negative times a negative gives us a positive 2. The correct answer here should have been letter C. Okay, so If you got that one correct, I want you to do this problem. Throws in a fraction, gets a little bit more complicated. If you missed that one, try another one similar to the one you just did. All right, go ahead and pause now so everybody can do these two questions. Okay, let's go through the answers to these two questions. The first one, -8 was the Santa Claus. We had 2 good kids to pass out candy to, or presents, I guess. -8 times 2y would be -16y. -8 times -3 would be a +24. Your correct answer should have been -16y plus 24. The fraction one throws out a little bit more complicated of a problem. You can use your calculator or you can challenge yourself to try to do this without a calculator. So our Santa Claus is a fraction. That's okay. And we have 2 good kids to throw out candy to, or throw out presents. So if I did the first one, -3/4 times 12, I'm going to put 12 over 1, and I can do the rules of multiplication and cancel out or cross simplify. I would get -3 times 3, so -9x. And then if I do it for the second good kid, -3/4 times -8. Again, I can cross simplify the 4 and the 8. And -3 times -2 would be a +6. So my correct answer here would be -9x plus 6. Hopefully you guys did okay on those. We're going to stop here for our commercial break.